A review copy of Mario and Luigi Brothership was provided to me by Nintendo, so I would love to give a great big thanks to them. And on that note, I wasn't actually planning on playing this game right now because it's just, there's so many games have been coming out. I'm so behind on reviews, so much stuff going on in my life. And yeah, it's the same thing with Super Mario RPG. It's a game, looks really good. I really want to play it. But like Mario RPGs, they're just really long. They're just like really big games. And then in this case, you know, I was super duper excited to play the game. I thought it looked really perfect. But then when it came out, the reception was so mixed, and I kept hearing so many things about the game, and I started to get this this inkling that I was probably going to be one of the people who didn't like it very much. It's just that like the criticisms that people had about the game matched my own criticisms that I've had other games in the series. So it just kind of seemed like all of the things, the biggest problems I have with these games seemed to be back and bigger than ever in this game. So I figured I probably just wasn't going to touch it for a while. But then Nintendo offered a code, and they were even super cool because they want you to cover the game within a certain amount of time after launch. And I said I didn't think I could do it, but they're like, that's fine. We'll extend the deadline. So whatever, all that to say, they were really cool. And I did. I played the game. And I'm going to, sorry for all the long preamble, but I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain. I don't even know if it's wise to give this much of a peek. But I thought, okay, if I play the game and I don't end up liking it, then I can kind of spin that into a video. The idea that like sometimes it can look like the ingredients of a game are all there and it's all perfect, and then you get your hands on it and you see that the execution just didn't do it for you. You know, I would say it's pretty rare for me to like look at a game and see that it looks perfect and then play it and then not like it. It's not something that happens a lot, but it is interesting when it happens, and I thought I could, yeah, just kind of spin that into a whole conversation about that. Because, yeah, I was really not feeling hopeful about the game. And so, like, I kind of reached a point where I was kind of counting on not liking it. You know what I mean? Like, not that I wanted to not like it. Obviously, the best result here could be me enjoying this game that I really want to play. But you know, people like drama. They like this kind of thing. They, you know, they do. They like to watch it. It's a YouTube thing. People like it when things don't work out. So I thought if I could get the video out of it, then that's cool. Unfortunately though, no, fortunately though, very much fortunately though, I started playing and I kept playing, and darn it, I like this game. I was waiting. I was waiting to reach that point where I got like too annoyed to keep playing. And it never came. And I just kept playing and playing. And then I start like looking up other people's opinions, and I'm like, oh, so most people say the beginning is slow. And if there's a big problem, it's at the beginning, and then it only gets better. Okay, so I'm already enjoying it. Okay, yeah, I just like this game. This is just this is a game that I enjoy. So that video kind of just went up in smoke. So that part was unfortunate. But fortunately, Brothership is good. Yes, it does have problems. Absolutely. I can absolutely see all of the criticisms. I understand them completely. I am sympathetic. I can be very impatient when it comes to games. I don't want games that waste my time. So like the game, it does start slow. It's a very, very slow and gradual opening. It's very slow to introduce concepts. It takes like hours just to get your hammers, and then even more hours just to get your first bros attacks. And I'd say a really big problem with the opening chunk of the game, you just keep waiting for bosses. There's just not enough bosses. You're literally clearing areas of the game, and you reach these lighthouses and you do them and you connect them, and you're like, where was the boss that pops up before then? And I get like maybe they don't all have to be big, huge, major bosses, but at least like mini bosses, you know, like a bigger version of the enemy or something. And it kind of just doesn't. And that really does lend to the idea that these opening hours are just like a little bit too slow, a little too empty. And like, you know, the game has like side quests and you do return to these islands like a bunch of times. And yes, it does often feel a little bit like padding. And then just like the overall pacing is too slow. Yes, it does interrupt way too much. And that's the main thing. That's my main issue with the other games. Just interrupting. Just constantly stopping and telling you stuff. And every time there's a mini game giving you this long tutorial, and this game, it does fall into that trap to an okay degree. I don't think it's the worst. I feel like other previous games have been a little bit worse with this, but yeah, it does have a problem with pacing. And then yes, the load screens going in and out of combat. They're not super long, but they're longer than they should be, which is just another little thing that just adds to this feeling of this slow pace, this kind of sluggishness. And then even worse, when you're running around on the overworld, it does not feel as good as it should. This game, you know, like, it's not just a regular RPG where all of the action is in combat. Like, no, there's action on the overworld too. You're running around and you're jumping on stuff. There's like legitimate platforming where accuracy is important. And yet it really just does not feel that good to control. I don't like any game where the character like snaps between like the limited directional movement. It's just very awkward how Mario does it, especially when like the camera is at weird angles. It just never really feels that good to move and jump. And then on top of that, the frame rate issue is not terrible, but the game runs at 30 and you can see it's like a frame pacing issue or something. You can see these little teeny tiny judders and they're very, very subtle, but it's still just another thing that just makes the game feel just a little bit sluggish, a little bit slow. And then like visually, I think that the game mainly on the overworld has like visual, like artistic cohesion issues. I think sometimes the elements, especially because like the cell shading, they don't quite mesh together all the time. And on a big TV, it really does not always look that good. Sometimes it looks like kind of a visual mess. And when you put all this stuff together, it really sounds too unpleasant. It sounds like a deal breaker. And yet for some reason, it's just kind of not. I don't know, like none of these things, even when added all together, was enough to keep me from just enjoying the experience, you know? Like even if it comes in and out a little bit slow, the combat just feels incredible. It just feels really good. You know, I'm a good chunk of the way into the game, and it's still every single time I do like the basic jump or hammer attack, switching back and forth between them to help each other, it just feels amazing. And so much of that is because the animations in battle, the character animations, like they're so expressive, they're so stretchy and fun. They've just really honed in on just how it feels to move and attack and jump in combat. And you know, it's a Mario and Luigi game, so there's the fun of all these new weird enemies and learning all of their attack patterns and figuring out how to counter them. And when you learn it, it feels really incredible. And it's, you know, a more traditional RPG experience, so it's just fun fighting enemies, even fighting regular enemies. You know that it's gonna contribute to you leveling up, at least in some small way. You're leveling up, you're gaining stats, you're getting items to augment your stats, you're slowly upgrading your gear. It's all just the usual RPG stuff that just feels good. It just always feels good to do, feels good to feel like I'm, you know, my team is always getting stronger. So yeah, really, I think the combat is really what's holding up a lot of the experience, because it's Mario and Luigi. Mario and Luigi combat is it's really, really good. But then it is also just the world and the concept and everything. I really love it. I love the character designs are really good. And you know, a lot of these little characters, they're mostly like these weird little like rock plug kind of plant people, but they're still really cute and they're expressive. And then just like Mario and Luigi themselves, I love their designs. I love the way they absolutely pop on the screen. They are so expressive. I love how talkative they are. They are talking constantly, and they brought back like the Italian gibberish, and it's just Kevin Afghani, I feel like he's got it. In Mario Wonder, it was like, okay, it doesn't quite sound like Charles Martinet. I mean, like, it's close enough, but like, you still kind of he got it. It took him like 3 games, but he got it. Like, these depictions of Mario and Luigi they're flawless and perfect, and no, I just love it. The entire way that the brothers are depicted in this game, animation and everything, they're so alive. And then like the overall story, I love what it's doing so far. I've heard like mixed things about it, like living up to its potential and really like hitting these themes that it establishes. So I don't know how it's going to be later, but at least at the moment, I love it. I love the overall story and all of the greater themes of like connection and stuff. Like it's really great. The entire idea of connecting all of these islands together. You're connecting them with the energy, and like they're connecting to Ship Island, which itself is like a ship where the tree is the sail, but it's a lighthouse and you're pulling them along. It's so cool. I love how you go to all these places and you connect them, and then those characters kind of come onto Ship Island, and you're kind of like building up this world gradually. And then you get themes of connection with the characters themselves in all of these very like subtle kind of ways. And again, I've heard a lot of negative things about the writing, like the dialogue and the humor, but so far I really don't get it. The game is like less funny in a way than other Mario RPGs, but it's not less funny because the jokes aren't landing. It's just kind of like it's taken a bit of a step back. You know, the last few Mario RPGs are funny, but they're very try hard. It's very like, we need to insert a wacky joke into every single line. Very memey, very like internet generation, you know? And this game is a lot softer in the dialogue and the humor department in a way that is incredibly refreshing. It's a lot more like the first couple Mario RPGs, you know, Paper Mario. I love that game because the internet didn't infect it yet. It's a lot more, I don't know, just like kind of soft and friendly and genuine. And I'm getting a lot of that here. And then when you mix that with all the themes of connection, all these people, they have like family, they're always putting in these little like personal stories into it and how that weaves into the greater thing. I just think it's lovely. Right now at this time, I'm enjoying the heck out of Mario and Luigi Brothership. And you know what? It is possible that my opinion will kind of change later because, you know, looking at people's criticisms, they say like later in the game, the fetch quests become a little bit harder to handle. The battles become a little bit too long. The game drags on a little too long. I could see that happening. You know, even now, I'll get to an island and it'll be like, what do I got to do to get to the lighthouse? Oh, I got to like track down. I got to play hide and seek with these. Oh, I got to, you know, like I definitely feel that from time to time, that thing of like, I got to go run through this. It starts to feel a little bit tedious. So like, I could see myself reaching a point where I am getting a little tired. The bad stuff is weighing on me a little bit more. But like, yeah, at the moment, I'm really enjoying it. You know, that's always like the mark of how much I'm enjoying a game is really, I know it sounds obvious, but like, I don't know, to me, it's important to like, to really look at, do I want to keep playing it? You know, when I'm playing it, do I want to turn it off? Am I forcing myself to keep going because I feel like I'm invested in a game and I want to see the end? Or do I just want to keep playing? And that's where I am right now. When I'm not playing, I wish I were playing. I hope I get some time to play tonight because I'm really enjoying Mario and Luigi Brothership. So thanks again to Nintendo for giving me the opportunity to play it because, yeah, like I said, I would not have otherwise. I got too much going on, although I will say, not thank you for giving me like a 40-hour game that I now feel like I really want to play. I got a lot going on right now. I am jokingly slightly upset that you gave me this code, but really, thank you for the code. It was really cool.